So everyone, welcome to the first or one of the first episodes of Geek Eats Cafe. And if you're like, hey, you're playing Elder Scrolls Online, then you're right, I am. I had a poll that I put up last year about what game cuisine you would like to see me cook first, and there was a tie between The Sims and Elder Scrolls Online. So I get super easy recipes, in my opinion, plus the challenge of Ever Scrolls Online. So we are currently in Daggerfall at a place called the Rosy Pony, and we'll be going from. Oh, sorry, the Rosy Lion. I was looking at the horse here, the happy, healthy horses, and don't ask. Anyway, so we're gonna go check out some of the food at the Rosy Lion, and then we're going to go to the marketplace because there's a grocer and a cooking fire there, which will let us kind of examine food production in the game. Now, so we've got the two different food production ways. I am playing a character called Nura Shalang. Shalang. I let the internet name her. Anyway, she is she's a lizard woman. I'm not that familiar with the lizard people race just yet, but I got cool hair. And yes, she is wearing nothing but her starter gear. Can I brighten that up some? Oh yeah, I can. There we go. Ah, now you can see. She's wearing her starter gear. I haven't even put points into her yet. She is literally, I just created her to run around and look at food. So far so good, yeah? Oh, is this guy coming to kill somebody again? Yep. There's some quest. Well, that was funny. There's some quest going on here as well that people keep coming here and getting killed at. So, entertaining. Anyway, back to first person view. Bye, Shudlek. So, one of the things we want to examine when we go different places is to look at the culture of the area, which you really can only do by examining it firsthand, which is why I have so many starter characters with no points in them, because I tried to create a character and put it in a variety of different starter places, so that's why you're getting that. I like Nura. I don't know if I'll ever increase her levels, honestly. So what we're looking at here first is, the silverware. There's no silverware here. The plates and bowls and the bottle. We're looking at the different tankards, the cabinetry, even the teapots are different here. And you'll see what I mean when we switch to some of the other characters later. We're looking at the windows. Is this closed? Is this a closed window, or is that just supposed to be... So yeah, we're looking at the tables here, and we're also looking at like the motifs. The motifs will give things away. The styles used for decorating, the different types of furniture, and the different types of foodware, the cabinetry. The boxes and the barrels are the same no matter where you go. Another thing we can look at is the everyday person fashion, like the villager fashion. It will change slightly from area to area, I've noticed. But, so, like, the game... I like Elder Scrolls Online because they did put a little bit of care into creating different culture zones. And I know each time they drop a new expansion, like it's a new area of Tamriel that is to be explored. So it means that they've kind of like upgraded it, which is kind of nice. Where do you get deer horns? Probably from the deer. I haven't gone hunting around here yet. So, we're looking at the different furniture here, this cute little baby rocker, the books, the bottles on the books, the urns and the vases. I think that was closed last time I was here. So yeah, they must be coming in here to steal whatever's in there. The fireplace construction. This is all kind of faux medieval, a little bit of Celtic twisting here. I'll have to go look up which culture group's supposed to be living in Daggerfall. It's not my strong point. So there you go. We are ignoring pretty much everything that has to do with the game itself because we're not here for that. Did I go in here? We got a little storeroom. Oh, okay. So here we got flour, which looks like the salt rice. What do we got to steal? Abacus. Just hoping for like food things. Rye. So they've got wheat, they've got rye here. They've got coffee. It's empty, 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 empty. We've got barley. So we've got barley, we've got rye, we've got wheat. What's this wheat? Flour. I guess wheat flour. So what we're seeing here is, you know, a culture that's eating a lot of, I don't know what that is. Looks like a strawberry though. Anyway, eating a lot of cereal grains. There's the word I'm going for. But they have a variety of cereal grains here, so that's kind of interesting. Something to take into consideration when we go to remake the food. Now we're on the second floor. Sorry, the books always fascinate me. We're on the second floor of the Rosy Lion, and as soon as I can figure out where the damn stairs are again, we will go downstairs. I'm lost on the second fucking floor. Good job, me. Ah! This giant opening here would probably be where the stairs are. I wonder if that's a spittoon. Those are all open. I like the writing utensils. We know they're writing with quills and ink. A little drink. They like to drink a lot here, but then again, I think I am in a bar, so that's kind of, you know. Yes, I suck at moving around in this game. It's the fire chicken. I love the fire chicken. I think you got that for the year of the cock. So here we go. There's some deer heads. More tankards. Again, kind of British Celtic motif going on. Even the construction of the buildings is very European-ish. Generic European. Wow. Sexy beast over here. What else we got in here? The acai berry. So we see a lot of like... We see a lot of overlap with the foods here. The apples, I'll show you the apples here in a minute. There's a ton of apples. Oh, it's a wee away at. Golden lager. We don't want to talk to you. Fried chicken! Chicken, 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 chick! Okay, anyway. See, people are upstairs getting murdered again. What am I doing? I'm not getting involved in that. Now, something that was interesting over here is the bread. There seems to be bread on every table, except this one, of course, the one that I bring you over to show. So here, there's a lot of pies, there's a lot of breads, and then bananas. We've got this cooking fire going on again. Do you take note here with the cooking fire that we've got a cauldron, we've got some other cooking instruments here that are designed to be used in fire cooking. The only thing they're really missing is the tripod thing that would actually go over the coals, because when you cook in a fire, fun story, you're not actually cooking on the flames, you're cooking on the coals themselves. So you need the fire to basically create the coals, but you're not usually using the flame itself to cook because the flame will not cook the inside of the food. It's another reason why you're also using, you know, iron and metal containers to cook in, or even ceramic containers to cook in, because you're trying to create heat all around, not just heat in one specific spot, which again is the problem of cooking with flame. Look at me sounding like I know what I'm talking about. Okay, well, that guy's fun, isn't he? Depressing. So here we've got a meal spread. We've got knives and forks and spoons, and someone actually set this table setting correctly. Wow, we are like high class belching drunks. And we've got a drink, we've got bananas, again, the bread. It looks like on here that we've got like some kind of, that looks like chicken to me, but it could be steak. I got some beans, got some asparagus. So, you know, we've got a nice little rounded out meal there. We come over here, we've got some stew, just some stew. Stew seems to be a thing. If I were to steal said stew, it would tell me what kind of stew it is, and I know this because I've done it with other characters, but when it's just kind of sitting out like this, you don't really get to know. Here we go. That's what I want to see. You don't get to know what kind of food it is until after you pick it up, and I'm not trying to get my little second level character dead here. Dude, rude much. Alright, so again, we've got more pies. We've got this potato. Looks like it's got sour cream and chives on it. I'm down with sour cream and chive potato. So we've got pies, potatoes. We've got a lot of grains, which makes sense because if we're eating pies and we're making the crust out of something. Ah, here's the apples I wanted to show everybody. The apples are the same no matter where you go. So, oh, look, we actually have rice. But it's not salt rice, it's just rice. And just a random earthenware jar. Okay, cool. Whatevs. I know I like to keep my earthenware jars inside large baskets. Oh, the guy's not cooking. Oh, there was a guy who was cooking earlier. Oh, there he goes. Okay, so here's something else that the game does. As my handsome chef Xavier is displaying for us. All of the cooking animation, all the cooking animations are the same. I've seen all of the characters do it now. They all cook the same. It's this animation. I understand the game's not trying to like, you know, not trying to do anything fancy here. It's just making a game, okay? We've got more stew. We've got, this is a wedge of cheese. I'll show you on the other side. More tankards of ale. I think everything over here is just more ale. There's that cool teapot again. Probably more booze. I mean, I am in a bar. Can I show you the cheese here? There we go. So there's a wedge of cheese. It's the dark rind slice of cheese. It kind of looks like it's some kind of Swiss preparation. There we go. Again, it might be a specific kind of cheese, but I'd have to steal it to find out, and then everyone in this room would murder me. So that's what we get to see here at the Rosy Lion. The nice thing about this is we get to see prepared food and plated food, which is important because it tells us a little bit about... Nobody eats bread like that, Michelle. Put the bread down, Michelle. You're brutalizing that loaf. Anyway. Also, the eating habits don't change. They all eat the same as well as they all cook the same. So I'm going to go wander around town for a minute, try to find my way to the marketplace. Wish me luck.
I heard that Dominion soldiers have landed at Farwatch.
And again, we're looking at the infrastructure and just the motifs being used in the game. Again, very generic medieval. If you've ever seen any of my videos of my excursions to the Renaissance Fair here, this should all look very familiar because it's pretty much the same. So we are talking livestock. We've got the chickens there. Looks like some chicken houses. I bet there's probably eggs in those houses because they do have eggs in the game. Eggs. I'm gonna stand here in this chicken pen and check my map. I am nowhere near where I want to be. Let's see, I want to go kind of back the way I came. Oh my god, I hate these maps. Wow, it's like all the way. Let's see. Can I... Looks like if I go this way and cut through whatever town square this is. Well, what's that? Oh, Daggerfall. Hi, Daggerfall. Bam! Did I make it? I did! Alright. So we are now in the Daggerfall Marketplace in Daggerfall. So, again... Why? Why? But again, looking at the infrastructure of the place and just, you know, the look of it, it's very generic, medieval, fantasy, medieval, European medieval, I guess I should say. If you've ever, again, seen any of my videos of the Renaissance Fair that I go to, this will all look incredibly familiar to you, including the shops, because, like, that's how this runs. Alright, so here we go. One of these two people is the grocer, or maybe both of them are. So we get to look a little bit more at the raw ingredients of the foods, and, I mean, I can compare a lot of them to modern foods today, real-life food today. We've got our pumpkins, we've got a radish, again, the apples. All apples look the same. These are tomatoes. I would not have picked that as tomato. Got some millet, greens, which kind of looks like lettuce to me. We've got various types of bread. Oh wow, actual purple grapes. Usually the grapes are green, and then when you pick them up, they turn purple. We've got some more bananas, flour sack again. So we're looking at a very European style. Oh, well, there we go. There's salt rice. Very European style menu. Melons and greens. Very open menu to people here. Nothing seems to be very restricted food-wise. Where'd the other... There we go. Got some garlic, more apples, more tomatoes, more flour, rando sack, apples, more salt rice, millets, carrots, more cheese, pies, basic provisioning guide. Oh, that book there. Hi, Nicholas. God, space. Dude, you wedged me in. Can't get away from you. Rude. Seasonings, flour. Ah, here we go. So here's the open. Yeah, I just kind of wanted to. Apparently, we have a lot of rats here too. But it is the year of the white rat, so maybe that's why we're seeing so many rats. You're good luck. Okay, so this is the outdoor cooking fire. I'm trying to film a video. Well, maybe he's gonna cook. That might be fun. Maybe. I do like his helmet. I'm not gonna lie. I got a thing for the cat. Get the rat. Get the rat, cat. No. So anyway, we've got this fire. Again, if you'll notice, they're kind of getting it right. The fire is not like flames like it was in the inn. We're really just kind of cooking over the heat. Dude. Rude. We're spit roasting the meat. Now, all of the cook fires in the area are going to look like this. That's one thing I have noticed. Yeah, sorry about the rocking. One thing I have noticed is that they try to keep the cooking fires very regional specific so that, you know, just to kind of keep you in the ambience of the game, to remind you that you've moved from one cultural zone to another. That's kind of cool, but it also kind of informs us a little bit on how the food is meant to be cooked. Like, we're spit roasting meat here. We've got a cauldron we can clearly, like, make stew in. If you become generous with the cauldron and you can call it a Dutch oven. You can also do a fair amount of baking in it, which would explain the breads. Your bread isn't going to look like any of those breads. Making pies is a little bit more easy in a Dutch oven, and you can do a pie over the fireplaces here. But most of all, it looks like the cooking in Daggerfall is very informed by European medieval times, which is fun because I've picked up several medieval cookbooks. They're easy to come by if you go to the library, and they're also really easy to find recipes for online because there's a lot of people that do kind of like the anthropology and the archaeology of food already, and they're publishing their findings and their deliciousness on the internet and in books. Again, there is an actual cookbook for this area, for this game. So I will be using those as references. I don't know how much I'm going to just make the recipe straight out of the book. Like, definitely if I'm hitting a wall and I'm like, I don't know how to make that, or I can't find a similar recipe, I will definitely go and use both the book and the website as references, because there's no point in reinventing the wheel if I don't have to. But there are a few little things with some of these recipes that I want to dig a little deeper into, culturally and anthropologically and archaeologically. Wow. I'm going to use all my big words, all of them, in one sentence. And so that's going to, I think, affect the way I do the cooking and the way I recreate the recipes. But in general, I mean, I'm still restricted to real world ingredients in the long run, aren't I? So yeah, we'll see what we do in here. So this is what we have for Daggerfall. I might dump some points into my little character here so we can go to other towns without getting murderized. But I think this is a pretty good look at the foodstuffs and the available foods and both the outdoor and the indoor cooking in the Daggerfall area. So, all right, so we're going to jump to Julia Childs, maybe. Go. There we go. So this is Julia Childs. I'm slowly falling in love with her. She's a lot of fun. Yeah, I like her. I really like her. I mean, look at her hair. Is she not the coolest looking orc chick you've ever seen? Look at that butt. I like big butts and I cannot lie. Anyway, again, level 3. Haven't really done anything with her. I don't even think I've put points into her. She is a warden, which is another class I'm kind of interested in. So, level 3 warden. We are in Somerset right now with her. So we are, according to this, we are in the High Elves homeland, the Altmere Highlands. Not a High Elf fan, just cause. I'm a Dark Elf fan. I like my Dark Elves. As you will see when we go to play my actual character. I guess we call her my main. Why are you even out here? Like, why are you so far away from town? What was I doing?
Let the cat fight those monsters. The island sprung a leak. Run!
The island has sprung a leak? What does that even mean? Okay, so we are finally in a town of some sort in... Hi. In Somerset. Let's see. We are in Shimmering. Sure. I'd feel bad, but none of these people are real. Anyway, you can see, again, looking at architecture and motifs, looking at very Gothic revival. So this actually kind of moves us forward some. It's still very generic European medieval fantasy. I know this area is supposed to be the home of the High Elves, so that kind of explains, like, the high decoration here, because clearly only High Elves could decorate things. Very pretty carving, kind of Greco-Roman-esque. This looks like Disneyland. So, fairy tale. We're looking at a fairy tale area here. Kitty, 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 kitty. Oh, I wish they were real and you could pet them. Lots of high detail here. Beautiful, beautiful detail. Mages Guild. Water fountains everywhere. These kind of...
Fascinating application of the technique.
Thanks. Again, there's some borrowing of Eastern influence, as you can see here. But mostly we're doing, like, again, these Gothic cathedral windows, these really heavy arches, the heavy carving. Where's the place I'm trying to go? But then you've got these, I mean, what's obviously a Japanese maple. But those are everywhere, honestly. We saw some of those when we were in Hammerfall as well. So, but you get down here, you're getting like the French-Italian claustrophobic alleyways kind of thing going on. This stuff's all pretty generic. Okay, so we've got some millet. As far as foodstuffs, we are heading towards the inn. Not that way, though. And it's not because I think he's shady. It's because the little thingy on my... Oh, well, maybe I am going that way. Underwear. Hey, bud. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Yeah, this is way over decorated kind of theme going on here. Landscaping. Just kind of gives you a feel for where you are. There we are. That's where we're going. And it's... Man is having a party in his head, and he is having a good time. Alright, I wanted to see this statue. So yeah, we're still, like, the artwork in the statue here. You can see, I wish I could zoom in on things. Oh, okay, he's dancing to this guy. Makes it a little less fun. But yeah, I mean, what you're looking at here brings us out of, like, the Dark Age medieval and into the, like, high church medieval. Even the ships look fancier. And that man is... I still wager that man is drunk. Again, looking at the furniture here, the carving is different. The decoration on the chairs are different than the last place we were at. We've got grapes, we've got bananas. Like I was saying, like, overall, the foodstuffs are kind of very cut and paste. Okay, so we're at the Anchors Away Inn. Boy, this place is dead. Maybe I'm just here at the wrong time. Lots of fancy cloaks. Again, very fairy tale, Renaissance, medieval. I like those hanger hooks, though. Those are cute. Oh no, don't tell me you don't have any food. Alright, so we've got a meal over here. Hi, we're just gonna insert ourselves here. So, looks like we've got a salad, mush, and some other kind of mush, maybe rice or potato. That was not helpful. Looks like there's a game going on here. Checking out these seats. So it's a nice combination of Renaissance-y fairy tale. Okay, here we go with our cheese and our bread. We've got, I don't know what that is. I'm gonna assume it's a stew. It's nothing. Various loaves of bread. Lots of cats. Big wheels of cheese here, I think, is what we're looking at. Is that a wheel of cheese? Looks like a wheel of cheese to me. Got a rabbit hanging up here. Not a lot of food here. It's interesting. Maybe the cats ate it all. Screw you too. Again, our cooking fire is a big open flame fire, much more elaborate, actual like fireplace. We're still using pots and pans. Oh, I love that this cat's eyes glow. You're so evil. Carrots. Oh, okay, see, it is a stew. Oh, really? Stew, pie. So, very much like the food we were already looking at when we were in Daggerfall, which kind of makes sense because this area is effectively just like Daggerfall, only the next version up. Like, you know, jump forward several hundred years in real time. You know, you're jumping out of the Dark Ages, which isn't real, into the Renaissance, and that's where we're doing this from, it looks like. So, to rock, Sarah. So, this is Somerset. Again, like I said, we're looking very medievally. There are some Eastern influences to be expected, really, for the time that they're trying to recreate here. But keeping in mind that these two time periods are kind of not... I mean, we're kind of like grabbing from European fantasy from two different time periods in actual European history, so that's kind of nice. Foodways really probably haven't evolved much between the medieval-esque time and this Renaissance time. I think that's what I'm going to stick with there. I think really the only thing that really changed between medieval and Renaissance cooking is, I'm sure there were some techniques that were developed, especially when it came to like baking and pastries and that kind of stuff, but for the most part, they're still eating meats, they're still making a lot of pies, they're still serving a lot of stews, especially not rich people, they're still eating basics, you know, nothing super, super fancy. I can't remember if they have sugar at this point, but I don't think the game has sugar. I think it has honey anyway, so not something I really need to worry too much about unless it's a vital chemical component. You know, like you can't make sugar cookies without sugar. It's kind of like that's what a sugar cookie is, that kind of a thing. But one thing we are noticing with the game is that the foods are similar no matter where you go. Like the icons used for the food, like the apples are apples, the grapes are grapes, the greens are greens, even though the greens could be anything. Like greens covers a huge array of things in the real world. You know, you've got spinach and lettuce and mustard and kohlrabi and radish tops, and I mean salads and that kind of stuff. So greens are green things that you can eat. So we've got that. I do think it's interesting that they took the time to break down the cereal grains. So you've got rice, you've got salt rice, which I need to look up. I need to find out if there's a real world connection for that. We've had rye, we've had millet, and what else did we have? Barley, I think. So I think it's interesting that the cereal grains are broke down so fine, but the greens are not. We have had carrots and radishes and pumpkins, again, apples, bananas, grapes. So there is some basic variety. They're all things, though, that you would find in a grocery store. They haven't really gone out of their way to find anything really crazy for the game. But we also haven't gone to Morrowind yet, so I'm going to log out of Dear Julia and let her relax in front of this lovely fire here and scratch her head. I assume she has fleas. Please let her have fleas. Oh my god, that just makes it all better. You've got fleas, Julia. Anyway, we're gonna not log out apparently. There we go. I don't know what that was. So this is Bragner Thranduil. He's, again, newbie character. But he has Jumping Bob, who I adore. Jumping Bob. I don't remember what this guy's name is, but he's pretty neat too. Whenever I buy the upgrades, I always get like the Uber upgrade with all the downloadable content because why not? Anyway. He is in Northern Elsewhere, which actually is a lot of fun. So this is, oh no, it's my hot sauce. Elsewhere is the newest expansion. Provisioning ingredients can be found in crates, barrels, and baskets all over Tamriel. Anyway, Elsewhere is the most recent expansion. I think its big deal is dragons. I know that because if you look at the map, you can watch them fly around and avoid them. I mean, eventually Bragner will be big enough that he can go and kick a dragon's butt, but right now he cannot. Either real Bragner or not real Bragner, who is currently asleep on my blanket. He couldn't give a crap about dragons. But I have wandered around. Yeah, a rage of dragons. I haven't talked to Abner Thran yet. So right now with Bragner, we are in Riverhold, which is nice because there is this Market of Fresh Delights, and we are in the Banished Regrets Inn. Very small area here. That's fine. It does what we need it to do. Bragner's not very big yet, level-wise, so I like Elsewhere. At least the northern part of it, because that's really all I've seen right now. Remember we were talking about like generic Orientalism, generic Eastern fantasy. So this kind of expands it a little bit. We were talking about motifs and looking around at things. Again, you know, this nice rich carving, these beautiful tiled floors, these very detailed rugs, carvings on the chairs, again, change. Even the shape of the chairs have changed this time, which they barely changed last time. We've got these beautiful wardrobes, which again... Now, we're not going to look at food just yet. We still want to kind of look at the area, but hello, Bob. One of the things I wanted to point out was this item right here. I know that's kind of annoying. There we go. This item right here, that's a tagine. And the tagine kind of informs us a little bit about the style of cooking that's happening here, because the tagine is regionally specific to different culture groups that are kind of Mediterranean and Indian-esque in heritage. I butchered that. Anyway, this tagine kind of informs us of cooking methods that happen. I have a tagine. I love my tagine. It's really nice. It's kind of like, it's like the original old school slow cooker. It's a self-contained clay pot, basically, and you cook in low temperatures with it, and you basically kind of roast everything together. Now, one of the interesting things that if you've ever gone and had Indian food or Moroccan food or Mediterranean-ish food, you'll recognize some of these items that are on the table as like pickle pots and relish pots, because we're eating with a lot of chutneys and stuff when you go to those sorts of restaurants. And I think that's really interesting that they decided to go this route with the kajit. Kajit? Oh, dang it. Someone else is getting murdered upstairs. So we've got this... Anyway, so we've got this very Moroccan, Mediterranean informed, kind of Tibetan Indian informed world here, here and elsewhere, which I think is kind of cool. Again, you know, seasoning sacks, they're the same. What do we got in here? We got a lotus. That's the first time I've seen the lotus. Doesn't mean it's not somewhere else. Faded wanted poster. Why would I? Why? Because why would you keep that there? Anyway. I can't pick locks to save my life. Again, another cooking pot, slow cook pot. This kind of reminds me of dishes that are served in Ethiopian restaurants, so I think maybe there might be some Ethiopian influence to the area as well. Ding! Congratulations! I don't... Did I... Okay, I can go that way if I jump up over it. Again, looking at the food on the tables, always fun. I know this says stew, but it doesn't look like stew. But, you know, here you can see some stuff. There's, like, red potatoes and purple potatoes and something that looks like it might be chicken-ish in origin, and something that looks like rice. This one looks more like a smothered curry. I can kind of connect these things to foods that I have eaten in various restaurants. Again, they're calling this a stew, but again, it's kind of like a mix of root vegetables. It's interesting that they didn't bother to put stuff in the relish bowls. And that's like a pickle container. See, we got the stew again. But again, the shape of the dish kind of informs us about what's being eaten. And what's being eaten kind of informs us about how it's being eaten as well, even though everybody eats the same. Is this a tea service? Yeah, so here's another one of the teapots. I think it's interesting that the teapots all have roughly the same shape, but it's the decoration on the pots that really changes. And yeah. Okay, so I think this is supposed to be an incense burner, but it's clearly a hookah. Again, informing us of where we're drawing our inspiration for this particular game culture from. This is a Mancala game. Another teapot, more of the little containers for pickles, that kind of stuff. This is really neat. So this is the cooking fire. I really appreciate this cooking fire. They put a lot of effort into the indoor cooking fire. Bob! Shame on you. Mother raised you better than that. But it also lets us look at more of the things that are here to eat. This is an artichoke. Oh, Lisa looks like an artichoke to me. This is, again, a turnip, maybe a radish, clove of garlic. These look like parsnips, if you've ever had parsnips, especially when compared to that, which I know is a carrot. Again, red potatoes, maybe tomatoes. The tomatoes did look kind of weird. Little fingerling potatoes. Yeah, that's clearly a turnip, sorry. I think that's broccoli. That's clearly an artichoke. By the way, this is not actually how you cook any of these vegetables. So, but I also really enjoy this, like, I don't know if that's supposed to be a pork chop or a T-bone with just, like, a fork stuck in it on the fire. Also, not how you cook those things. But I like this variation of the cook fire, and I appreciate that they took the effort to not just make it another fireplace cook fire. Again, we're looking at the same vegetables here. We can get a better look at them just because, yeah, like broccoli, artichokes, turnips, parsnips, which is interesting because this is actually one of the first times I've seen variation in foodstuffs from, you know, we looked at Hammerfell and we looked at Somerset, and now we're looking at these. You know, they all had radishes and carrots and bananas and generic food. And here we're getting a lot more specific, a lot more variety. Like, there's a lot of variety in this pile here. These two items, like, really make me happy. Because, again, this really does inform... What did I do? What did I do? Oh, That's what happened. I'm dashing. I don't really want to dash. These two items really make me happy because they really inform the cooking style that they're trying to go for here, because these are both utilized in Mediterranean cooking and Indian and somewhat Ethiopian-esque cooking. I end up dashing again. This is a roller, but it's a specific kind of rolling pin, and again, the tagine. I was very excited to see both of these items. They make me happy. We're gonna print screen that. Bam, print screen. Again, these hookahs, lots of floor sitting. It's still very generic. And see, you can hear from the music because it's definitely changed from the last two inns we were at. Very Tibetan-y, Indian-esque. So they're like, yeah, and here we go with some more motifs. Cool as that is. I mean, you can clearly see what influences we're going for here. Which is fine. This is actually really helpful. I'm going to stand in the middle of this thing so I can turn around. Why does he get to be so big? I want him to be big. This is very helpful when we're going to go and recreate the food, because the recipes, especially the green recipes, which are all the starter recipes, which are what I'm going to have most access to, they're kind of generic. They're like garlicky greens. But if I get the garlicky greens and I'm here, that's going to change a little bit how I'm going to, what greens I'm going to use. And, you know, just preparation overall, how it's going to happen.
I've got what you need.
Do you? No, you're the clothier. I don't want you. I want you? Are you the provisioner? Yeah, so here we're outside. We got some more, like, stew. That looked gross.
Another distraction.
Hey, be nice. I'm a cute kitten. But here, this is a really good example Narl is employing for me. Everybody eats the same. They all have, like, this piece of bread that they, like, dip into whatever the hell they're eating. They'll nibble on the bread a little bit, and then in a minute she'll drink from her soup bowl again. I mean, it doesn't matter what food it is, everybody eats it the same. Unless it's a loaf of bread, and then they just, like, go to town on it like a freaking beaver, apparently. What are you doing? You're lost. Ah, there we go. There's the market. I really appreciate this market, again, comparing it to the other two markets that we've been to. Now, whose market are we in here? We're in the market of fresh delights. I like this because, again, clearly throwing it back to Indian, Tibetan, Mediterranean. We've still got millets. What have we got in the basket? Ooh, fish. That's the first time I've seen fish. But what I really like is just these spices, just these bags, this row of spices, because you can very much smell the spice market and imagine a spice market, you know. Don't actually steal. Why? Why would you keep a lantern in a sack? That's just bizarre. And an iron dagger in the urn. Someday I'll play a character that can actually steal things. But then we also come over here and we've got the apples. Again, they look exactly right. There's those green grapes I was talking about. So when they're in a big old pile like this, the grapes are green, and then if you pick them up, they turn purple. Lots of apples. Are these fish? Okay, so here's fish. Can't buy the fish, apparently. Or steal the fish. That's weird. Why are they so tall? Oh, you're standing on things. I want to be tall. Got some melons. That's kind of interesting, the bitter green. Does not look like bitter melon. It kind of looks like broccolini, or to get a closer look at it. Weirdos in their cat masks. Who do you think you are? What have you got? Let's see. Nope. But so there's our market here. So we've got some mint, carrots. We're still doing carrots.
Greetings, Walker. Have you a moment to speak?
No, I don't. I'm busy looking in your baskets. Ginseng, or ginseng, however you want to say it. Again, I've covered that I suck at stealing things. An interesting collection of just containers, an incense burner, another hookah, another kind of hookah, another kind of incense burner. Very, very Hindu, very Buddhist, very Indian, from India. Just FYI, we will say Native American when we mean Native American. Or indigenous when we're talking about indigenous, not Indian. But yeah, I like this because it's different. And I appreciate that they went through the effort of trying to... This dude, though, let me tell you, this guy's outfit. Can we talk about this guy? Because he looks like he needs a walking cane. Yeah, anyway. We're just gonna leave this dead body here? Well, alright, so this is a PC, I think. But again, looking at the way the outfit is designed, you know, it's... As much as everywhere else we've been has been, you know, generic European fantasy, Renaissance, generic European fantasy, medieval. This is very generic, generic Mediterranean, East Asian. There we go, East Asian. I mean, does that not look like the Taj Mahal? Just the statues themselves, you know. The buildings, the quote-unquote ruins. The current buildings, the way they're built. It isn't one particular culture, definitely. It's definitely a regional kind of thing, and I really kind of appreciate that because outside of very specific games, you don't see this very often, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. But the big games that I've seen, you kind of have to be in a very specific game to find this kind of a thing. So I appreciate this. It's so nice to have something that isn't just generic European fantasy, you know? It's nice to have this. But yeah, so when we are recreating food from the elsewhere areas, we know that we're going to be looking at very, Mediterranean style foods, so you're looking at a lot of curries, you're looking at kebabs, you're looking at falafel, you're looking at, really tasty, spiced, delicious things. I mean, I'm a big fan of Mediterranean Indian food. I freaking love it. I wish I could live on it forever and ever. It also tends to be kind of high in fat. But again, it informs me on how I'm going to be cooking these things. Like Tajine tells me that I'm going to be referring to some Moroccan style cooking techniques, and the curry looking things are informing me that I'm going to be looking at Indian pickles and Indian side dishes and that kind of stuff. So I don't know, I'm going to lose my bauble. So that's kind of nice. It's also really nice because I don't have to worry about using the same medieval style cookbook for everything. Is my main character, you'll see, she's only level 10 and stuff, so I don't know, this is like stuff I got for free because again, I bought the online upgrade. Anyway, I don't even know. He's cute though. He plays with his feathers and he's adorable. This is my dark elf. She's a dragon knight. I'm not good at her. I'm still tweaking her. She's only level 10. Cut me some slack, folks. Cut me some slack. Anyway, she can actually go places, and I'm not worried about her dying right off the bat. That's all I gotta say there. However, she is in Vardenfell, which is part of the Morrowind expansion, and I love Morrowind. That was the whole reason I decided to start playing this game when they finally came out with the Morrowind expansion. I was ecstatic. Very happy. But welcome to Vardenfell. We are in Vivek. I hate Vivek. I don't know why I'm here, but it's like one of the larger towns in the area. So we are in the land of grumpy smurfs and korma eggs. So I like this area. Again, going back to that like generic Asian fantasy thing, you will see a lot of that here. At least that's kind of the feeling I get. I do like that they tried to make it kind of organic feeling. I love these things. I want one. Spots. Bless you. It's not like straight rip-off, I think I'm walking away from where I want to go, because again, I'm not paying any attention, but looks like there's some food down there. That is Vivek there. We're walking on the dock side, which is part of the mainland. Vivek, if you don't know, is actually built in the water. It's not on an island. I do like Vivek a lot. Again, looking at the types of things that we can gather. These are not gatherable. These are basically the trees here in Vardenfell. So we've got produce here in Models trading goods. We've got just this produce. That's interesting. Those might be the tomatoes again. Wow, they're not even telling me what this stuff is. Okay. So we got pumpkins and apples. Let's see. We got pumpkins and apples, folks. That's what we've got. So these are probably pumpkins. These are apples of varying sizes. I think what's most interesting here is, the Morrowind, the Vardenfell area is still very generic medieval. With a definite dash of like generic Asian. I mean, I hate to be like that, but they're not attaching it to any particular culture group, so it's not like I can be like, oh, this is clearly, you know, 19th century Japanese architecture or stuff like that. It's not like that. But then like you've got this junk, you know, that's clearly a junk. It's even got the little cool little witch ball kind of thing going on there. So you can see where they're trying to pull the majority of their influence for an area from. Like, are you actually from here? Are you one of the guards? Yeah. First off, they're house guards. This is very samurai-esque looking compared to the golden knight looking guy that we saw earlier. These lanterns, very kind of like, yeah, here we go. Another interesting thing is they're very much trying to connect this area has two really interesting things going for it. All of the creatures that are indigenous to the land, native to the land, are insectoid looking, and they've got the giant mushrooms. So that's why I'm like, it's the land of the grumpy Smurfs, because one of the things is that some of the towers and stuff are actually built out of the giant mushroom things. So that's fun. I think those are two little fun little twists. They still have a lot of the generic medieval influence here, but that also, like, the whole mushroom thing, very much the organic feel of the area. This place isn't as highly decorated as some of the other areas we've gone to. And I've gotten this lost again. And I guess they're building this area as part of Vivek here. Yeah, that's part of the Viveki area, so they're expanding Vivek? I don't know. Ooh. Ooh. Okay, Brewers and Fishmonger Hall will be good. Food! Again, as I was saying, everybody cooks the same. Everybody. Is that an actual cook fire? Alright. So again, we're looking at the meals here. We've got carrots. Those are either mushrooms or potatoes, peas, some kind of meat. The interesting thing about the game... Oh, and look, even the silverware is different.
You'll answer to the guards for that.
I didn't do anything. The dishes are different. I love these candle stands. Those are kind of cool. Tea mugs. It kind of looks like a sake cup or a sake pour. Anyway. We go with the bowl with, I believe it has stew in it.
There's a thief on the loose.
Damn it. So that's radishes and rice. Oh, I'm disreputable. That's funny. This character has a... This character has a slightly better chance of not dying. Just gonna like punch him to death. I'm sorry, this game's funny sometimes. Alright, let's try not to steal anything else, because now they probably hate me. There's just a... I want to know what it is, but I don't want to steal it. But I kind of do.
There's a thief on the loose.
Garlicky greens. See, that's what I'm talking about. That was garlicky greens. Okay, so this is a cook fire. Got like a potbelly cook fire going on. I wonder how many times I can steal shit before like they attack me, because right now they don't really seem to care at all. Like, even a little bit. But anyway. Compare this cook fire to the cook fires that we have looked at. This is the indoor cook fire. I'm not as familiar with this style of cooking, but I watch a lot of traditional Chinese cooking videos on YouTube because I'm that person, and also I want all three of those women to adopt me and just make me food all day long. But they use this style of oven. This also kind of has a very kind of Adobe looking style to it, but I'm pretty sure that's not what they're going for, so I'm going to assume it's more of the Korean, Chinese style fire. And if that's true, then there's actually another component that goes along with this style of oven, which is basically a giant stir-fry wok. I've seen it cooked in. I've never cooked in it myself. I have a wok that goes on my stove that I can cook in. So that's, we can mini wok this stuff, but the big giant woks, not so much. Look, he's gonna play with his feather. Oh, it's so cute. Oh, so cute. Oh, God, I love you. Okay, let's go see what other food I can steal and not get attacked for. Alright, we came in that way. Let's go out this way? Sure. That makes sense, doesn't it? I wonder if the guards stop me. I don't want Taylor and Dyers. Don't care. There's probably food in there, though.
Scum like you belongs on the bottom of my boot. Irks me just to look at you. Just pay and go.
Okay, you're just...
You're hardly worth the
But... Can I? Nope. Excuse me while I die. Can I even kill you? I don't think I can kill you. I don't think you're killable. I was gonna give you the money! Please don't attack me. Oh, all I had to do was die. Alright, let's not steal any more food, or if we do, let's be a little faster about paying the bounty. Wow, that was... Look, okay, I'm not that big yet. What's down here? Yeah. Tell me that's not the lotus motif from, like, Japan. Tell me it's not, I dare you! I don't want to go to the canton yet. Farmers and laborers. What does that even mean? What does it mean, precious? Okay, so here we go. Let's see if we can look at things without stealing from them. So there's some more bitter green. Again, I think that looks like an onion. We got our flour sack, we got our seasoning sack. I think these are, oh, and there we are, the infamous sweet rolls. Bum, bum, bum. By Vivek. I read this one already. Bread, this is another kind of bread. This is actually, this style of bread is more what you get when you cook in a Dutch oven. Just, you know, FYI, for people who don't know these things. Pumpkins, we got more of these giant freaking apples, like, dude. We've got some carrots just, you know, chilling up there, because as you do, are these beets or are these radishes? Beets. So we got actual beets. We've got garlic, bananas, more beets, poultry. That's interesting. That's the first time I've seen that come up. Coifer. No, it's gonna be money. You know, more poultry. The grapes again. Little tiny pumpkins. You know, we don't have any tomatoes though, so that's interesting. I haven't seen tomatoes since we were in what, Somerset? I was charged with making sweet rolls. That is something that I must make. I like the bread is just bread. And these are specifically sweet rolls. So, we're not stealing any more sweet rolls. This character is actually big enough that, like, stealing dying actually hurts. Pumpkins and apples again. Let's see, what do we got around here? Yerba mate. And random scrolls. A locked door that I, again, am not good enough to unlock because I'm not that skilled. Alright, so the only thing we haven't seen is an outdoor cook fire here. So let me go see what I can find for an outdoor cook fire for y'all. So here's something that's interesting to me that I've noticed in the game, which actually makes my life easier as someone trying to reproduce these recipes. There's only like 4 or 5 types of meat. There's white meat, there's red meat, there's poultry, and there's fish. And yeah, so 4. That makes it nice for me because it means I don't have to, you know, worry about, hey, a tree I just walked right into. Good job, me. I don't have to worry about trying to match something like guar meat to a recipe. Like, what the hell is a guar? They're grubs. Am I supposed to be eating grubs? And you can see my inept fighting too. And like with the korma eggs, which is something I have been challenged to make, is korma eggs. And I have looked at the 2 korma egg recipes that are available both in the book and online. And both of them are just egg quiches.
Those monsters. It's too dangerous. What am I going to do?
You're gonna wait for me to come and interact with you. Yeah, I'm supposed to like go do something in there. And this is where I'm talking about like culture specific food and that kind of stuff. Because I'm actually set up in a nice spot here. I'm gonna actually log out. So that's kind of what I was talking about with the looking at the cultures of the different areas of the game. 2 of them are very European medieval. You get to Morrowind, you get to Vardenfall, and it's medieval. It's European medieval with a really heavy dose of Japanese, Korean, Chinese, generic fantasy influence. And then the newest release, which is Elsewhere, has, you know, I really like it. I think it's very pretty. I can tell that they put a lot of effort into what they made there. But it is clearly like East Asian culture-esque generic. So, but I did like that they didn't have a lot of European medieval fantasy in it. So that is nice, and I appreciate that. Like I was saying with the Elsewhere and the Tajin, it does kind of inform me how I am to cook the food. Again, with the cook fires in Vardenfell, it does kind of inform me on how the food needs to be prepared and cooked. Kind of not so much in Somerset and Hammerfell, because they're both very, like I said, they're both very European in style. So we're looking at a lot of like stews and pies and that kind of stuff. And I mean, I can do that. That's fine. It's not an issue. The cooking techniques are going to be interesting because almost every place you go has both an indoor cooking style and an outdoor cooking setup. So that's kind of nice. And again, it informs me on how the food needs to be prepared, which will inform me on what I need to do preparation wise. I think the biggest challenge is going to be like the garlicky greens. I think it's a generic recipe that you can pick up anywhere, but depending on where you are, depends on what the garlicky greens looks like. So there's a lot of research that I'm going to have to do in game with the food, and I'll probably try to do another one of these videos where you get to watch me stumble around the world looking for food. At the same time, I'm still going to be playing the game because I do actually like the game. I don't know why anyone would want to watch me do that. It's not, I'm not a pro gamer. That's not going to be entertaining for anyone. So unless I see some kind of like archaeological reason to bring you all into the game. I probably won't do it other than to have you watch me cook in game. So you guys can all stand there and watch my characters do this. So anyway, I know that was thralling video. Thank you all for coming along with me on this. I know this is one of my longer videos. I have a feeling these will probably be longer videos just because of, you know, what they are. And yeah, so if you like what you saw, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And if you really like what you saw, go ahead and follow our Patreon link in the show notes below and, you know, help us out a little. And yeah. So, see everybody in the next video!